Hi, you're watching this video because you want to improve your posture, obviously. But if you haven't watched my previous video where it talked about the difference between posture from a perspective of structure and then posture from a perspective of function and the nervous system and the brain. I highly recommend you watch that because this video is all about retraining your brain, your nervous system, and your movement in order to improve your posture in a functional way that is going to last for a long time. So, posture, I did mention in the previous video that the posture is a reflection of your habits, your lifestyles, and your habitual movement patterns, and in your day-to-day activities, right? And that is going to influence your movements, your posture. And that is something that has developed over months and years. So what you're really trying to change is not muscles per se, right? But you're influencing the muscles, your body, and by changing the patterns between the brain and your body, right? That is your habits. That's what the aim of this video is about, and introducing a specific movement retraining and based on your movement bias or habits. And everyone has a different movement habits and the movement patterns and posture patterns. I'm trying to generalize and somewhat simplify this video. And so generally speaking, this is talking about the common postural patterns and the movement patterns. And some people are what I call the full round posture, where the whole spine, including your low back, mid back, and upper back, is rounded and the pelvis is kind of rolled backward position, so in sitting. And this is what I call the full round posture. And of course, the head is going to respond to the movement of the spine and the pelvis, and moves and shifts forward. And that's a very common, classic forward head, rounded shoulder, rounded back type of a posture, right? If you happen to be in this movement bias or the posture bias, then the specific movement retraining for you is it's the moving in the opposite directions. First, you have to recognize your patterns, right? Like so. And for those patterns, and then the opposite movement patterns, or what I call the non-habitual movement patterns for you, is moving into the extension, right? And this extension is what would be considered non-habitual movement patterns, and that would be beneficial for you. But at the same time, it's not that exercises are going to fix your posture, but awareness and these movement retraining and paying attention to your body, so that the brain starts to register that information that this is your patterns, and then this is where also this is another possibility that you can actually move into that. So movement wise, it's pretty simple. I mean, it could be done in any position, but don't think of doing a movement retraining as just stretching the muscles, but it's really the way that you actually make this a brain retraining is by paying attention to your body. So you really concentrate on sensing and feeling your body while you are making movements. So moving into, you can do a cat and cow, like yoga pose, one of the yoga poses, get on your hands and knees positions, and then making a full round and then a full arch movements. Or you can also do while you're sitting in a chair too, right? So you're just doing cat and cow movements slowly. If this is uncomfortable, moving into either directions and uncomfortable, then you don't have to move into an extreme range. Again, this is not really stretching afterwards. It is just, as long as you can inform your brain and these patterns, the specific movement patterns, and that's all you need to do. Small movements here. And what you want to think about is evenly distributing the movements through the whole spine, moving into the rounding and arching. I still encourage you to move into your habitual directions. If this happens to be your habitual directions, still move into that. Don't think that you need to avoid that habitual directions. You need to still move into the habitual directions because that's your default automatic patterns. You have to bring that into your awareness first. And then this is the opposite directions, which is more difficult than that. So you're going to feel in your body that is quite unusual, or it's the direction that you don't do enough, or you don't do as much. There. So in terms of the repetitions, slowly, maybe 10 times or so, and then you can really repeat that throughout the day. And again, it can be done in multiple positions. Sitting, if you happen to practice yoga, you can incorporate the yoga practice and make it more the brain training as well. Some of the poses, like a upward facing dog, you're getting into that movement. 4 extension movements, that's again helpful movement patterns for you. And you can do any type of practice, even in standing, and then you can get into extend the whole spine here and coming back. Just giving you different ideas, but in terms of the specificity of the movement, it is an extension pattern. Okay, but this is not for everyone, and for some people, this is another very common postural bias and pattern. So the previous one was the full round posture, and then the other one is your lower back is somewhat arched, extended, but your mid back and upper back is more rounded. So it is the combination of extension, arch to the lower back, and then flexion through rounding through the upper and the mid back, and the head, shoulders, similar to the previous pattern. So if you are in more of this movement category, and then for you, the previous movement patterns of full arching extension movements, it might be not the most suitable and the most specific movement retraining for you because of your habitual tendency and the pattern to move and extend through the lower back. When you're trying to extend through your spine, and likely you're going to extend through the lower back and as well as your neck, because those are the areas that your body constantly move and habitually. So naturally, you move through the parts that are the easiest, right? The path of the least resistance is what the nervous system likes. It chooses to go through the easiest pathway. That's the habitual direction, the pathway. So for that particular pattern, then you do have to constrain and make it a little bit more difficult and for the lower back to extend. And one of the easy way to do that is you're going to, if you're sitting, you lean, bring your belly over to your thighs, and then put your elbows, forearms on your thighs, and now you constrain your lower back. It makes it harder to move and extend to the lower back, but it's possible to move through the lower back. But from there, at least it is not as much movement and could take place from the lower back. And then from there, you can do modified cat and cow movements. You can round and you can arch. And your focus for you is going to be extending through your mid and upper back. But you have to be careful with your neck because this is another easy place to move from. All right, so you can practice cat and cow like movements with focused attention to your body so you can really feel the difference. When you move in it, where are you moving from? You want to direct your movement to the area that you don't really often move from, your mid and upper back, not your neck or not your lower back. All right? And if you're doing a cat and cow, then you can also modify and create the constraint by getting down on your hands and knees. And you move your hips back, if that works for your knees and for your hips, and then from there, you work on cat and cow movements. That is specific and to your movement bias in the pattern. or maybe I'll give you one more idea for that particular pattern. You can also do the half kneeling position, lean over, and then you can work on extension through your mid upper back. Slowly rounding and arching. Going to the extension is going to be a very challenging because that's a non-habitual movement pattern. Again, just to keep in mind, not stretching. Changing the patterns, right? Your habitual patterns. Why? Because you want to change and improve your posture in a functional way. And the change happens not in the muscle, but the change has to happen in your brain, in the pathway from the brain to your body. And that's what you're trying to influence through movement retraining and the nervous system retraining. Okay? So if you haven't watched my previous video, and please be sure to watch it. And then next video, I'm going to show you another movement retraining, nervous system retraining to influence the state of your mind, your emotional state, which is going to be also influencing your posture too. Quick and easy, really simple exercise that can really help your nervous system to quiet down. And then you can experience the difference in your posture, in your body. So stay tuned for that next video. I'll see you next time. Oh, before we stop and end today's video, if you like this video, and please hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, and please subscribe and please share with your friends and your family. And if you have any questions, the comments, please write them down in the comment section down below. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I want to let you know that you can join my free masterclass, Path to Comfort, Confidence, and Authenticity in Your Body. And this is an overview of my comprehensive movement course called Understanding How Your Body Moves Method. If you want to submit your application to this course, and you can do so in the master class. So I hope to see you inside the master class.